All right, we are on the part 2 of how to deconvert a Christian. If you haven't watched part number 1, go back and watch part 1. Quit cheating. You can start here if you have someone who will accept that the Bible is flawed, that it takes several things from other religions, if they accept the fact that it was written by man, if they're skeptical, basically. The first part is basically for people who are dead set into it, to get them at least up to a reasonable standpoint and have them thinking on their own, so they'll at least be skeptical a bit. If you got someone who's already skeptical, maybe someone who is just kind of sitting on that fence, then this is a good way to move from there. Again, just to kind of recap, the result that we went for in part number 1 is that we got them to let go of a concrete acceptance of everything in the Bible, and now they still believe that there is a God, but they have less faith in the Bible and more trust in their own interpretation. At least now they should be thinking for themselves. Every time something goes wrong now, it'll be met with skepticism and not blind obedience. You could probably leave them be, and they will find their way by themselves from here. That could take a very long time to speed things up. We'll move them from theist to deist. What's the difference? A theist believes that there's an all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful God. He affects your life. He answers your prayers, whatever. He's like the big old daddy in the sky. A deist believes that there was a God. He started things in motion, and then he lost interest, let you go about your own way, or just kind of said, all right, good luck to you, or some even believe that he died. But anyway, so we're going to try and get them to a deist at this point. Step number 1, explain free will. God doesn't control our actions. Since I have free will, His plan means nothing. If I don't go along with His plan, it's not His plan, it's my plan. All of the all-knowing business is whitewashed with the omnipotent part and crashes to the floor when He can't know what I'm going to do next if I don't know what I'm going to do next. I have a free will to change my mind. I might take a drink. Oh, not, will, don't, I can make up whatever mind I want. You thought I was going to drink, didn't you? Ha. I am. Alright, so miracles. That's step number 2. Miracles, most proclaimed miracles, have been proven false, scam, or scientifically explainable. The few that survive are those that won't allow for such an investigation. To date, not one single amputee, no matter how deserving, no matter how many pray for him, no matter what the circumstances were that caused the loss, not one has ever regenerated a limb. Not one child born with a birth defect has suddenly been healed without surgery, regardless of the prayers or the efforts of the church. These things that people once thought were miracles are now proven to be simply part of the human immune system, or otherwise explainable. Those that haven't been explained also haven't been studied, so God gets credit. Not, say, evolution of man to heal himself against a defect. Basically, God only offers miracles when it can be masked as coincidence. I've got another video on miracles. You can go if you want to get a way to explain it to them so that they understand. Pick an object. Okay, pray to this, and it's going to give you something. No, it won't. Use the same arguments that they use for anything else, and they'll see how absolutely ridiculous it is. Step number 3: explain that there is no divine intervention. Although we built our premise on dismissing the Bible, don't confuse yourself with thinking that their acceptance of some of our arguments has been throwing out the entire Bible. They still believe the basic points of divine intervention, or the basic points in divine intervention is one of them. So go to the Old Testament and look at all the times that God got involved in piddly little nothings in people's lives, yet children are murdered, molested, abused, deformed, etc., and nothing from God to help out. The world is in far worse shape than it's ever been back when He sent Jesus, and He's doing nothing to help us out now. He'll only answer prayers if He can make it look like a coincidence, so maybe it was a coincidence. God's presence on our world seems non-existent. Gee, I wonder why. Saul was such a bad guy that God saw fit to blind him until he changed his ways. But no help stopping Osama, Saddam, Hitler, 9/11, Jeffrey Dahmer, Jack the Ripper, Charles Manson. Hell, he wouldn't even stop George W. Bush from screwing up, and he talks to him every day. No help convincing priests that psychologically damaging altar boards for their own carnal pleasures was a bad idea. What happened to all the divine intervention we heard about? Oh yeah, the Bible lies sometimes. See, that's where that whole thing comes back around. The Bible lies sometimes. I guess this is just another one. And hammer that home. It's extremely important. And you don't leave this topic until you're done with it. If it means you got to come back 2-3 times, down the road. Stay there until they understand that God is not going to get involved in your life. He's not answering your prayers, and He's not controlling anything else. Which should be easy because you already explained free will, and so the whole thing is ridiculous. So, since divine intervention, miracles, omnipotence, and talking to people that is in the Bible doesn't seem to exist in our everyday lives, maybe that's all just another lie that they made up when writing/editing the Bible. They can accept this and move to deism. Belief that there is or was a creator, but He's no longer involved in our daily lives. If the job was done well enough, they'll accept that. If not, let them stew again and then try more later. Now that they're skeptical of things, it's basically inevitable. So like I said, once they realize that there's no God intervening in their lives and answering their prayers, and that they have their own free will, then this makes sense that God's just a spectator at best. So now what? Well, simple. Now you go back to school. The only thing that's left to determine basically now is, did a creator make us? Or did we evolve? And science wins this fight TKO by the 4th round. Don't believe me? Check it out. Round 1. The basic concept of evolution. Just get them to understand what it means for things to evolve. The natural selection. Why is a snow leopard white? Well, for obvious reason. And why are there no other kinds of leopards up there? Well, because they stand out and they wouldn't be able to get very many meals. Why are there no leopards in the jungles where there is no snow? Well, obviously. Just little things like that. It's just the basic concept of evolution. You're taller than your parents, and your parents are taller than their parents. Just basic evolution. All right, evolution in the past. Show the evidence of what has happened, what we know. Evidence of evolution now. There is plenty of that out there as well. And then round number 4, you get into the details. Get them to read a book by Richard Dawkins or Charles Darwin's Origin of Species. Any of the others. There's a lot of books out there. Just get one, read it, and understand it. Make sure you select one properly. There's plenty of stupid, intelligent design ones that use it to contradict and make it really confuse you. But get them to read something that's honest about evolution. All right. So after round 1, the basic concepts of evolution. Round 2, you give them the past. Round 3, you give them what's going on now. Round number 4, you go into the details, and the ref calls a stop due to heavy bleeding and the creationist theory, the equivalent of a cut over the eye. Now that the deity has no purpose, he/she did not create life, doesn't control our lives, and doesn't answer prayers, and doesn't do, anything, he or she will poof away in the same way that some other idiot poofed them into existence. And that's basically it in a nutshell. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to make the Bible justify itself, and then since it can't, simple education of the facts will contradict everything else. It all comes crashing down. But I'll get into like I said, I'll get into the details of some of these another time. I'll go into each little step. If you have somebody that you're trying to deconvert and you want some ideas, feel free to email me or just leave some messages and we can respond back and forth. If you are skeptical yourself and you're interested, again, just let me know. If you're also an atheist and you've got your own little method that you use to deconvert folks, if you've been successful at it, let me know. Let's get something going. Let's find out what works the best so that we can free the minds of some of our friends, family, and other loved ones to get everyone on the same level of rational thinking that we are on. It will only benefit our world. The time has come for us to do this, and I thank you for your time. Let me know.